I have a beautiful wife who loves to serve others. We bought a home down the street from my family. I have a sweet sister who likes to crash at our house with her friends. My wife normally is pretty easygoing until recently. My sister's friends have been leaving messes, mostly towels on the floor after using our pool. My wife got upset picking up after them every day. I have asked my sister to make sure the house is clean after they leave, and it has been better. My wife also complained that some of her perfumes / clothes personal items have gone missing. My sister said it's not her. I believe my sister. I just don't see her doing that. I told my wife and we agreed to just replace them. Last week my wife made a couple of pans of cinnamon rolls from scratch. One pan was for us, the second pan was for a coworker's family who is experiencing a tragedy. My wife went to the gym. I went to work and my sister and her friends came by. The one pan wasn't enough for her and her friends. They wanted the second pan of cinnamon rolls and my sister texted my wife asking if they could eat them. My wife said no. They ate them anyways. My wife upset went and bought new locks. When I came home my wife handed me a new key and told me that she didn't want anyone else to have a key to our house. I tried to calm her down and tell her that I would just go replace the eaten cinnamon rolls with store-bought ones. My wife decided this was her hill to die on and said no, my sister lost the privilege to come when we are not home. Replacing stolen items wasn't good enough anymore. My mom called and asked if my sister could use the pool as a back-to-school party. I was under the impression my mom would be there. I said yes. My mom was at work and our schedules clashed. The easiest solution was for me to change the locks back so they could come into the house. My mom didn't come with my sister. When my wife got home after the party, it was a mess. She sent me photos. She called me the A for changing the locks without talking to her about it. Keep in mind she did too, then told me I broke her trust. She wasn't safe in her home because she keeps getting robbed and I refused to put an end to it. I did talk to my sister. Then my wife let me know she was staying with a friend for a while. Am I the A here? I feel like I have tried to right any wrongs that have happened between my wife and my sister. I talked to my mom again and let her know my sister isn't allowed over without me home. I asked a friend's wife who is a maid to come deep clean our home. So if / when my wife comes home it's clean. The last thing is my mom asked me to help cover my sister's cheer. She is on track for a scholarship. I told my mom I would pay half of my wife's things were returned. If not, the money was going to replace the stolen items. Also, my sister was invited to homecoming. She wanted me to buy a dress. I told her no for not following our home rules, and the money I saved for the dress is going to pay for the maid. I did replace the locks again. I also am planning a romantic dinner I will make and clean up. I heard a lot about the cinnamon rolls. Someone on here gave me the idea to make them. I am for a dessert. My sister had a bag of my wife's things. More than I thought was gone. Most items are in poor shape. The big thing is she had my wife's grandmother's ring I thought was in the safe. I had no idea it was gone. My sister said that she found it on my wife's nightstand during the party. She forgot she had it on when she left our home. The ring isn't valuable, it's just sentimental. I told my mom who the ring belonged to. My mom lost it. My sister is now grounded. My wife is coming home. I am staying at a friend's house until we can work some of this out. I already stated it, but I did put the locks back on my wife bought. My family doesn't have that key. My mom called my wife last night and asked what my sister can do to fix / replace the damaged items. My wife said have her meet me every morning at 5 a.m. I decided to tag along and see what my wife had planned, trying to support her in whatever punishment she decides to do. You know, the cinnamon rolls. My wife's co-worker's 4 years old is in the final stages of cancer. My wife's plan is for my sister and her to prepare breakfast, get their other kids up and ready for the day, start laundry, basic cleanup, so her co-worker and his wife can spend as much time as he can with the sick child before work. My sister was silent the whole time coming back home. I can tell it really hit her that her life isn't as hard, even being grounded. I live with my parents and my brother. It's always been a dream of my parents to adopt me and bro, our bio kids. and they had come to the decision that they want to adopt an older kid. They got matched with Jess, who is 13. Due to the current situation, she is not living with us, but we've met before and she spent a weekend with us in January. Jess, despite sometimes being sweet and kind, is very high maintenance and has a lot of anxiety and anger problems. She can go from 0 to 1,000 really quick. During her stay, she got triggered by something when we were in public. She and I went to a clothes shop and my parents were in a cafe nearby. Some guy accidentally grabbed her by her shoulder as he thought she was his daughter, and he apologized immediately and started screaming. I was the only person there, and I tried to calm her down, but she ran off. She was found, shaken, but safe, an hour later. I then got grounded as I had failed in being responsible for my sister. I said I didn't have a sister. My parents were angry about this and said that how dare I be rude about her. Don't I know how much she's been through? She's had other outbursts, but none so huge in public. She can be cold and untrusting and was very clingy to my parents. I do admire her and think she's very brave, but I don't want to live with her. My parents call Jess often. I often say hi and try to be civil and supportive. But it seems like the only thing my parents can talk about is Jess and how brave she is, and she isn't even here yet. We live in a 3-bedroom house, and my parents promised to move to a bigger one later this year. Recently, my parents broke the news to me that Jess will move into my room, and I can pick whether I want to share a room with Bro or Jess. I don't want to share with either. My brother is messy, loud, and is your average 9-year-old boy, and Jess has night terrors and screams the house down. And it's enough having to open my house to her, but I value my privacy a lot and don't want her in my room, which is like my special place. I was crushed. I asked if we were still moving, and my parents were like, "We like this place and have no solid plan." I freaked out and was like, "You guys are forgetting you have another daughter and are too excited about the shiny new one to remember that the one you have has feelings and boundaries, and if you're changing everything I've ever known, at least I deserve to be listened to. If this is how life's going to be, I don't want to have a sister." Good to note, my room is big enough to have a wall put in, and my parents considered it a few years back. I would be happy with that. They refuse, even though we can easily afford it, because it is too much effort. My parents are offended that I'm not being welcoming towards my sister. And I'm offended that the life I knew is going to be turned upside down, and I'm not going to have the thing I value most, my privacy. I am a 41-year-old male, single dad with a 13-year-old daughter, Lacey. My wife died in childbirth, and it's just been me and Lacey all her life. My sister has been a big help in raising Lacey, and we do keep in contact with her maternal grandparents. The issue started a couple of months ago when Lacey started her period. I knew this day would come, so I spoke to my sister, my female best friend, and my mother-in-law to be well prepared. I gave her the talk with her grandmother and aunt there. I buy her pads and tampons. I even have Midol and heating pads ready for Lacey when she needs them. The problem began when I began to notice a smell coming from Lacey's room. I went in to investigate and found pads and tampons openly disposed of in her wastebasket. I checked her bathroom and it was worse. She had her blood-stained undergarments in the tub. I took out her trash and did my best to get rid of the smell, but I didn't know what to do with the underwear in the tub. Later, I noticed bloodstains on the couch. It took a while of cleaning, but I got them out. I figured that was the end of that. It happened again last month, when I noticed Lacey's room was stinking again. And I saw she didn't even wash the underwear from before. The bathroom was unbearable at this point. Then earlier this week, I saw bloodstains on the couch again. I sat Lacey down and told her that she had to learn to properly dispose of her feminine hygiene products and wash her underwear, as the smell was becoming too much. And to be careful of getting bloodstains on the couch or anywhere she sits. I also noticed her sheets had a lot of bloodstains and brought this up too. I also let her know that it was okay to get blood on things as long as she washed them. And I wouldn't be upset if I saw her bloodstained items being washed. Lacey immediately blew up at me saying that periods aren't gross and that I was period shaming, and that I needed to educate myself on menstruation. I then got texts from my sister and mother-in-law scolding me for making Lacey feel ashamed of her bodily functions. But I honestly wasn't trying to convey that periods are gross. I was trying to convey that her hygiene needed to be addressed and that the smell was becoming unbearable. I just wanted to make sure that Lacey knew how to properly dispose of pads and tampons without it smelling, and that I wouldn't be annoyed if she washed her blood-stained items. We have washed the sheets with hydrogen peroxide and purchased some OxyClean for future instances should we need it. I have asked her aunt and grandmother about, and they'll be able to give her more info as different hygiene products she can use. I always had good grades in high school, was home on time, cleaned the house, etc. I never had problems with my parents before this. I went to med school, still living with parents when I was 20. I dated someone who was 23. Dad was against this because B does not believe in dating people far older than you, so like don't date far from your own age. And says I cannot date J. Argument breaks out. Dad says it's his house, so either I agree or I move out. I say it's not fair as Jay has a job, goes to college, has future plans, etc. Dad kicks me out. Mom agrees with his decision. Little bro was only 14 at the time. I moved with Jay, his family was supportive, helped me with my college. I went to another college due to financial reasons. Finished my required years but still kept in touch with my lil bro years later. Me and Jay, with the help of his parents, got a small house. Like really small, but I'm happy with it. I ended up giving birth to a sweet baby girl. I let my lil bro know that he could come see her when he was able to. He came a few times. Today, bro came to see the baby and asked when I was going to let mom and dad see her since they wanted to reconnect. I said never and that I wasn't going to forgive them. Bro says I'm being unreasonable as they were just strict and trying to protect me. I say that's bullshit because dad shouldn't have kicked me out over age. Bro says I should at least let mom come because she didn't want to agree with it. I say mom was able to do something but didn't, but that bro's situation was different because he was only 15. Bro is upset because he says mom and dad regret their decision and just want to reconnect and that I am dragging this entire situation. I told him that if he thinks I'm dragging it out, then he can stay out of my life too. He's angry and says that I need to move on and that I shouldn't be withholding them from seeing their grandchild. I say that they disowned me and so have no grandchild from a daughter that doesn't exist. I don't hate my bro, and I kinda get what he is saying, but I just have a resentment for my parents. It's not like I had a baby just to put it against them, but my lil bro thinks I'm going to go die on a hill with them for something done several years ago, and it's petty. I want a relationship with my bro, just not my mom and dad.